Hey, Rainbow here and welcome to my channel. Today was a beautiful day on a Sunday, Easter for many of us. And anyway, so it was in the upper 70s, sunny all day today, a couple clouds scattered in, so it was a really nice day today. So let's get started, and I think the first thing we need to talk about is the big update, the ECU update for the Ducati Multistrada V4 range. I don't know if any other bikes are on it, but let's talk about it right now. Hey, Rainbow here, welcome back. So I knew this was going to be an important update from Ducati for the ECU because Ducati called me 4 times. 3 times they left messages for me, and I was like, interesting, you know, like there's literally leaving me a message telling me go get your bike done, and then they called again and again. I was at work, I couldn't answer the phone, and to be honest with you, it said potential spam with an 800 number, so I just never answered it. Finally, they called me a 4th time, I answered it, and I got a chance to ask a couple of questions. So first and foremost, this was an ECU update, and it was very specific to what I understand in a potential issue with the Quickshift at higher RPM. So this is something to protect your engine. I know that my buddy Frank ended up blowing a valve on his Ducati Multistrada V4 S, and warranted, new engine in it. He got it replaced. It was a happy ending there. He's a little rough on things, but nevertheless, he still rides them like it was designed, and he has a happy ending. So I was just wondering if it was somewhat related to his situation. So when I asked Ducati, I go, what exactly is this update for? And they said, it's for quick shifting at high RPMs. I said, well, what is your definition of high RPMs? Like, what range are we talking about? And they basically said redline. So I'm like, okay, so I feel pretty safe. Have I shifted at redline? Yeah, a bunch, but not a lot. You know what I mean? So every now and then, but the bike is performing well. They had to check a couple other things when they're looking at it, chain tension and stuff like that. So anyway, if you didn't get your update, please go get your update on your Ducati Multistrada V4S. Ducati, this is obviously a really important one because they're being very proactive to contact you. I know Ducati North America has been very proactive on this, and that's it. So let's move on. Now, I am preparing to go to my big trip that I take every year out to COTA, the Circuit of the Americas near Austin, Texas. Last year I took it on the Pikes Peak. This year, again, I'm going to take it on the Pikes Peak. The year before, I was on the V4S. Did a couple things here with the Ducati. I had it serviced at the dealer, and it was a perfect time for them to do a real good look over. So what I did is, because of my back, I'm not 100%. I ended up putting brand new tires on. There's a link about that right up here. So I put brand new tires on, some Michelin Road 6s. I did mount my Garmin Zumo XT or XT Zumo, whichever way you say it. I had it 2 years ago. I didn't put it on the Pikes Peak. I've now officially mounted it on the Pikes Peak. So I have that for the road trip, because what happens if my phone dies and then I lose where I'm at? I don't know where I'm going. So I figure it's a good idea to have the GPS kind of as a backup. I may try Cigic. Now, last year when I went to COTA, I used Cigic in a display the entire way, and it was okay. It got me there. I wasn't thrilled with it. But Cigic has certainly improved, and their maps are getting better. They're fixing a lot of things, so I feel pretty comfortable that through the bike with Cigic. But again, just in case something happens to my phone, I have the GPS now with the Garmin Zumo XT on there. I think there's a newer one out now, the Zumo XT something else, but that's the one that I had. Now, when I had the bike serviced and I had them put the new tires on, they did the update for the ECU, but pay attention, there was also another update that was for, I don't even know what it was for, but there was another software update. Now, between both updates, and I think the other one was a pretty major update, what ended up happening is all of my settings that I had in the bike were blown out, so I had to go back in there and set everything up again, which means right from adding my phone back in, adding the different Cardo Connect back in, and I used 2 of them, so I had both of them. And let me tell you, it was a piece of cake. So setting up the Bluetooth, setting up the phone, and passenger 1, passenger 2, which even though it's really me on both Cardos, it worked perfectly fine. But I wanted this bike to be set and ready to go. I couldn't remember all of my settings that I had, so I'm kind of playing with the, as far as the suspension is concerned. I wasn't sure exactly where I was with that, so I have to kind of figure that out again. But since I'm just going to be in touring mode and just heading out, you know, it's not going to matter. It's just a long trip, flat, and so it's not a big deal. I don't really have to have the suspension dialed in that much, but eventually I'm going to get it back. For some reason, I didn't write down what my settings were. I never thought about this happening, but anyway, it did, and that's it. Now, I only had about 4,000 miles or so on the oil, but I opted to get another oil change for the bike because I want a fresh set of filters and everything else for the trip. Now you're going, why would you waste your money? I know I spent some money on tires that I probably didn't need to, but to me it's about safety. I wanted to make sure that the bike is good to go in the rain. But I'll be honest with you, Ducati changes my oil every little over 9,000 miles. In between that, I change the oil and filter at about 4,500. So every 4,500, every other 4,500, I'm changing it. So basically, every 4,500 miles, the oil is getting changed in this Multistrada, because I'm in South Florida. It's hot here. It's hot year round. We have a couple of good months with decent weather like now, where it's only mid to upper 70s. We get a couple of cold days, but for the most part, it's high 80s, low 90s on a regular basis, high humidity. That really does a lot of damage to the oil and breaks it down. So I opt to change it twice as often, but to reduce the cost, I do it every 4,500 miles. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I just want to go over a couple of these things. I hope to see some of you out there in Circuit of the Americas. Looking forward to it. I'm giving myself an extra day to go out and an extra day to come back because of my back. My back is feeling pretty strong. I'm doing pretty well as far as that's concerned. So I'm a little nervous about it, and hopefully the weather will be good. Last year, the first 200 miles, I was just loaded with rain and it was bad. But after that, I just had spritzes of rain for the rest of the trip. It's about a 20 hours a seat time for me to get out there with regular traffic and everything. The worst parts are really for me getting out of South Florida and then through the bigger cities, and of course Houston. I've never been through Houston where I didn't actually have to stop on the highway and put my foot down and really stop and go traffic. But that's the problem with the Houston. Anyway, this is Rainbow. Please like, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.